Every year, I educate myself on what happened in the previous year as it relates to government contracting and how I can do better to help small businesses understand where the opportunities are and what they need to do. Part of that is me doing my due diligence to help you do better. And it's time for my GovCon report on 8As, which is absolutely fascinating. I cannot believe how well 8As did last year in 2020 during COVID. This is why I tell you guys, when you know how to do government contracts, if it works for you in your business, first of all, it works if you work it. But if you decide that this is what you want, you will never look for a customer during hard times. All of these 8As and service disabled veterans and companies that think like I do, none of them lost, because while everyone else was suffering with their businesses, these businesses were thriving. These 8As made $164.5 billion. Never in all of my experience and education when it comes to government contracting have I seen a number this big for 8As. 8A numbers are usually between 29 billion and 39 billion. That's it. So what does this tell you? I want you to think about that. But I'm going to tell you in this report who the agencies are that love working with 8As. They're very consistent. You will see on this report who they're spending with, yes, but if you're in the 8A program right now, you should look at this report, download this report, study this report, and go back and figure out, how can I get in with these agencies? They are giving out and awarding sole source contracts all over the place. 20 million, 14 million, 5 million, and that should be you. So the total dollars obligated to 8A firms was the $164.5 billion. However, that did not include the potential award amount for all of these 8A firms. That total amount was over $1 trillion. So the government actually spent in contract awards with 8A firms in fiscal year 2020 over $1 trillion. Potential total value of the award simply means that they're going to earn more. The 8As will earn more with their options. So they earned up to the $164.5 billion that was already paid out, but they're going to earn more over the next 4, maybe 5 years, depending on the contract. That is astounding. Thus far, we can demonstrate that there was approximately 19,053 contracts that were awarded to 8As. And that's not a lot of contracts considering these firms received $164.5 billion. That's a small group. And I've always told you guys that only 24% of the 8As that are in the program are winning. So out of 66,000 plus 8As, only 24% of those 8As are winning because the other 76% does not know what to do. So if you're an 8A, I've just done your homework for you. This first column is the total dollars obligated, the $164.5 billion I talked about. This is the proof where that number comes from. The next column, which is column B, is the potential total awards column. That is where the $1 trillion comes from. That means that if you won an award that you have the potential to earn another million and another million over the next 5-year period. So if your contract was for $5.1 million, you're doing approximately, depending on how things are going and how they're spending the money with you, you could be doing $1 million a year for that contract or more. If you have a $20 million contract, of course, those numbers are going to divide out to be more every single year. But this is what you need to do. The lowest hanging fruit is to determine which of the federal agencies are already trained to work with 8As. Now let's go to column C, which is the blue column. That's just the fiscal year. I wanted you to show that this is fiscal year 2020, or I wanted to show you, I should say, that this is fiscal year 2020. Column D, this is when the contract ends. Now there's a lot more detail that I could have put in here, but I'm just trying to get you to the point of what you need to focus on. If you know when a contract is ending, you can go after it before it ends. Okay, that is the key to successful 8A behavior. Know what's going to happen before it happens. Column E, the pink column. You have the agencies that are actually awarding the contracts. These are the agencies you need to know. Now, if you want this list and you want to look at the low-hanging fruit, you can click on the link below and get this list for free from my website, fedbizexchange.org. Column F, you have the recipient, which is your competitor. Some of you may or may not care about that, but some of you want to know what your competitors are doing. You could always look up your competitor and copy the codes that your competitors have, because your competitors are winning, and they're winning big in most cases. So pay attention to who your competitors are if you feel like you're not quite understanding how to get these contracts. Remember, your NAICS codes and your PSC codes are the key to you being where the opportunities are. You have to be where the buyers are. And then G, place of performance, if that's important to you. If you don't perform all over the country, then maybe you only want to focus on specific states. So you can find that here. Then column H, you have the award description. Very important. You need to look at not just the NAICS codes and the PSC codes next to column H. You need to look at what is the description of the award. Sometimes those descriptions are great and they help you to understand, and sometimes they do not. Okay, so read the descriptions. When you see your NAICS codes, you can organize this worksheet by, or this report, by the NAICS codes, the PSC codes, the agency, whatever you want. Okay, then you have the description of the NAICS codes and the PSC codes, because those are your key words. You need to know what those NAICS codes and PSC code descriptions are. Then you have the set-asides. I wanted you to see a lot of these are sole source opportunities. How do you get to sole sources? You find out what is consistently being sole sourced by doing your homework. Then column N, the last column. That column always fascinates me because you guys need to see you don't have a lot of competition. Do you see all these sole source opportunities? Because nobody's trying. Nobody is going after these opportunities. And that's why this should be you. You should be on this list. Now, when you click on the link to download the full report, you'll also get a list of the 8A federal awarding sub-agencies. Whenever you're doing government contracting, you should always focus on the awarding sub-agencies. So on this list, you choose the agencies you want to work with, and then you go and do your research from there. You choose a specific sub-awarding agency. Then you go to USA Spending to see what else they're doing, because they're not just doing 8A stuff. They're also doing total small business. They may also be doing service disabled veteran and woman owned, and so on and so forth. So I've done all of the work for you from a high level. All you need to do is narrow things down, and you focus on these agencies that like working with 8A. Because remember what I said also. Everything that you win is not going to be 8A. You cannot survive or become a double-digit, multi-million-dollar company by focusing only on 8As. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget, click on the red button in this video to subscribe.